press conference. The Raptors are coming off a bye week, but they moved up in the rankings to 12th in the FCS stats poll, 14th in the coaches poll, and still number one in all of the black college football polls. Coach, this week you have Howard, it's senior day. Can you talk about your team's mindset going into this game and your outlook going into the week?
Well, our mindset going into this week is the same as it's been every week, and that's to be where our feet are, which means control what we can control. We have another team coming into town that on paper hasn't performed particularly well, but that's not for us to concern ourselves with. We have a philosophy here that we get everyone's best shot, and so we have to prepare to be our best come 4 o'clock on Saturday. And so that's how we prepare as far as our film study, practicing, weightlifting, class attendance, study table, everything that it takes to be successful, developing the habits that we'll need to be successful on Saturday. It's about developing those habits through the week. And we tell the team all the time, we're going to play the game on Saturday. We're going to win the game Sunday through Friday with how we prepare. And if we do that, then Saturday will take care of itself. And so that's always been our mindset. I think that's why this team has been able to perform the way it has this season, because, again, we focus more on us than we do the opponent coming in, and hopefully we'll keep that mindset this week.
With Howard firing their head coach last week, what challenges does that pose maybe for you in trying to defend against a coach maybe you're not familiar with how he calls plays and how he plays the game?
Well, I think Coach Prince was the offensive coordinator, was the play caller. He was listed as a head coach / offensive coordinator on their website. So assuming he called the offensive plays. So obviously our defensive staff will have to try to be prepared for whatever they may see come Saturday from their offense. I would assume that the interim head coach will probably spend more time on the offensive side, being that the primary play caller is gone, which will lead me to believe that defensively they'll be very similar to what they've been. And so I think in coaching, in game prep, you have basically two kind of mandates. One is your pre-prep, which is studying them on film, seeing what they do, what their tendencies are. And then the second part is actually making adjustments during the game. So I think for us, defensively, I think we'll lean more on in-game adjustments as opposed to the offensive side, where we'll probably focus more on pre-game adjustments or breakdowns, because I would anticipate them being the same. But during the game, you have to make adjustments on the run. We'll see what their philosophy is once the game starts. And our coaching staff has done a really good job all year of making adjustments during the game, putting our guys in the best position to be successful.
Coach, you're coming off the bye week. I know some guys were banged up. I mean, that's par for the course of football. But to speak about from a health standpoint, those who were nicked up and missed a couple of games, their status for Saturday.
Well, Ryan feels really good. I don't think he has any ill effects from the injury he sustained against A&T. Bishop Bonnet practiced yesterday without a knee brace, which leads me to believe that he's close to 100%. There's some other guys that we're still awaiting word from. They typically see the doctors on Tuesday, so today we'll get a diagnosis on those guys, prognosis about their viability for this weekend. But as always, we're going to play the guys that we feel give us the best chance. If a guy runs the risk of further injury, we're going to hold them, of course. But we built quality depth, and I think that's the most important thing, is that the 2 years we've been here, we've been able to build some really quality depth at all positions, which allows us to hold some guys from injury as opposed to trying to rush them back.
Coach, as you look at the outcome of the A&T and the full complement games, kind of raise the question, is that because of parity or just because of these teams being involved in trap games?
I think it kind of speaks to what we said, in the preseason, is that in this conference you have to be ready to play every week. Parity is a word that means that everyone's the same talent-wise. I'm not necessarily sure that's the case. I think once all conference teams come out, A&T will probably have more on their team than Morgan State. Bethune may have more than Delaware State. And so I don't know if it means that the talent level is the same in the conference. It just means that there are 9 really good football coaches. There are 9 tradition-rich programs, who take the field every Saturday with preparation. Like I tell our guys, because of the records, because we're 8-1 and Howard is 1-8, then 1-9, they're not going to give us any more preparation time than they're going to give Howard. they're not gonna allow us to play with 11 and then play with 10. They're still gonna have the same amount of prep. They're still gonna be able to put 11 guys on the field. And because of that, our mindset has to be, let's prepare to be our best, not necessarily compare ourselves to Howard or whoever we're playing. Our job is to be our best, and if we can work to be our best, then I think the outcome will take care of itself on Saturday, and that's always been our focus. So I don't believe in that whole philosophy of playing up to a team or playing down to a team. We prepare every week to be our best, and if that best is good enough to win the game, then great. If it's not, which has only been one time this year, then great. We'll go back to work the next day. So win, lose, or draw, we have the same mindset, and I think that keeps this team locked in and focused, because our goal is to continue to get better every single week.
Coach, with it being senior day this upcoming Saturday, you got a lot of players who are about to play their last leg of Rattler football, Ryan Stanley in particular. Could you talk about, what's the talk in the locker room? What are these seniors talking about? Do you see, them emotionally higher in terms of, what they're looking to, do on Saturday?
I don't think so. Obviously, senior day is always a huge day. It kind of gets real to you that this is your last time playing in Brad Memorial Stadium, and this senior class has been near and dear to me. They're a special group of guys, and what they've been able to accomplish during their time here at Florida A&M shouldn't be taken lightly. A good percentage of these guys that we'll celebrate on Saturday were 1-10 in their first season here as true freshmen. Ryan Stanley, Marcus Williams, Cam Burton, Terry Jefferson, and a couple other guys in that group. So for them to go from 1-10, the laughing stock of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, to now being the unanimous #1 team in black college football, to being nationally ranked, as high as 12th, which is as high as I can remember this program being in a long time, it really speaks to their resolve and their ability to stay the course. And I'm pretty sure many times throughout these last 4 or 5 years that members of that group have thought about transferring. And, coaching change, postseason bans. I mean, they've experienced a lot. But for those guys to stick it out, to graduate, all of those guys will either have graduated already or are on course to graduate in December or May. Again, just speaks to the character of that senior group, and they're definitely one of the most loyal, hardworking, committed senior groups I've ever been around.
Coach, obviously, Howard's had their struggles this year. You look at it just 1-9, so naturally your mind kind of looks at that next game, which is Bethune, but how do you try to keep the players focused on Saturday, especially with that rivalry looming next weekend?
Well, our focus as a football team is on Howard. We don't even mention next week. It's not even something that we talk about. It's not something we have to talk against. We're solely focused on Howard. We have a goal here. Again, we have many goals. One of our goals is to be undefeated at home. That opportunity is here this weekend. We have a goal to become Black College National Champs. And due to the fact that we're ineligible for the Celebration Bowl, we understand that for that to be possible, we have to take care of business every week and leave no doubt as to whether we're the best team in black college football. If we happen to stumble along the way, then there may be some doubt that creeps in. And of course, championship football is played in the month of November. And so it's not necessarily what you do in the beginning of the season, it's what you do later in the season. And that's what people are going to remember. So these last 3 or 4 games is what the voters are going to really remember when they look at it and say, okay, who's the best team in black college? And if we happen to stumble this week, even if we win next week, what will the voter think? Are they truly the best team when they lost to a team that's won one game? So because of our goals, because of what our mindset is and what we're trying to accomplish here, it keeps us locked in and dialed in on the task at hand, and that's Howard. This team beat us last year, and had we won that game, we're conference champs. And so we definitely have a little sense of not necessarily revenge, because we don't play the revenge game very often, but a lot of those guys remember going up to Howard and how we were treated after that loss, and how that kind of started the demise for us this season. And so that whole fight to finish philosophy came as a result of some of the things that happened starting at Howard last year. So we have enough motivation to focus on the Bison this week and not worry about anything beyond that.
Howard has had some issues, but there's still some playmakers at receiver and at running back. speak about the approach from a defensive standpoint? I know that's Coach Street's responsibilities, but just the outlook and continuing to shut those guys down.
Well, they have some very good and dynamic players on that side of the ball. You know, Kyle Anthony is one of the best receivers in this conference. Big, tall, physical receiver, which always poses a problem. He's 6'3", wide catch radius. He's made a ton of plays this year. Parsons, their running back, kind of came onto the scene last year about around the time we played him, and he's really been a dynamic player for them this year. He's lightning in a bottle, and they have good players all over the place. You know, even defensively, they have some good players, and so I think their issue has been more a team, not so much individuals, just how they're playing as a team. But when you look at them and break them down player by player, they have players that can play at any school in this conference, and so we definitely have to make sure we know where those guys are, that we do a good job of neutralizing them, and continue to play great team ball. Because if you turn into an individual one-on-one battle, they do have some guys that can do some things with the ball in their hands.
Coach, with the postseason ban, has this team really rallied around? Has the rallying cry been that HBCU national championship?
Well, it has been. You know, it's the only thing that we can control. You know, we can't control the postseason ban. We can't control not being eligible for the Celebration Bowl. But we can control how we play on the field. And so with that being the case, we feel like if we continue to play good football, continue to take care of business on the field, that the voters have to have a decision to make. And, you know, there may be some who want to penalize us more for having a postseason ban and not being able to, at this point, go to the Celebration Bowl. But if you look at our body of work over the course of a football season, based on how we played so far and depending on how we continue to play, our goal is to make it very difficult for someone to look and say that this is unquestionably the best team in black college football.
Coach, with it being your last home game of the season, you know, obviously you won a good portion of these games here at Bragg. Could you talk about the fan play and, you know, how much it's, you know, influenced your team?
Well, I think it's imperative that our fans understand how important it is for them to continue to show up and support these guys. You know, we have many program goals on the field as far as championships and things of that nature. But I've never been bashful about the fact that one of my goals is to lead the nation in attendance at this level. And that's showing up to games, especially home games. We can't really control the crowd on the road, but we can control how many people show up to Bragg Memorial Stadium. This isn't what you would consider a marquee game. You know, this isn't homecoming. This isn't, you know, North Carolina A&T coming in. It's not the Florida Classic, but this is Senior Day. This is the last opportunity for the 2019 football team to be represented at home. And there are a lot of reasons why this should be a packed house on Saturday. We're the #1 team in black college football. And so this fan base has seen over the last 10 or so years its share of underperforming football teams. Now you have one that's performing at a level that many of us haven't seen in a long time. Well, there are no excuses as to why you shouldn't come support these young men. And so that's my message to the fan base. We made a mission to bring more games to Bragg Memorial Stadium. But when we bring them, we got to show up. And so hopefully our ticket sales are going at a steady rate. Hopefully it'll increase as the week progresses. But we need a packed house this Saturday, you know, because, again, it brings revenue to an athletic program that needs revenue. One of our biggest generators of revenue is ticket sales. And so obviously anyone who wants to support Florida A&M, who wants to say that they're investing into this program, got to buy tickets. And even if you can't show up to the game, buy your ticket. Go get them to a little kid in the community, or take them to a school and let them pass them out. Go put them in somebody's windshield. You know, but buy the tickets to the game because, again, that generates revenue for this program that we sorely need. And we want to send these seniors out the right way and let these guys know how much we appreciate them because, again, I can't imagine what Senior Day was like for them. For that freshman class, I can't imagine what Senior Day was like for them 5 years ago when they were a one-win football team. But imagine if they can take that experience and compare it to this experience and the feeling of, man, we've actually accomplished something this year, and hopefully that's what these guys will feel.
All right, if there's no more questions, first time's up. Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,